大家好, 여러분, 안녕하세요. minasan, konnichiwa. Today is the 16th of February 2025, and this is my 15th weekly update, right? So let's start by what we did last week, right? Chinese, 2 hours of ice hockey lessons, 1 hour each with two different teachers. I was supposed to do the HSK5 mock test, part 2, didn't do it. Close master did not do it as well, right? So this is some vocabulary I learned with my first teacher. Thought I'll share some of the interesting ones. They, which apparently is very common. My teacher highlighted to me that this is something that I'll probably hear quite often, so I should know how to write it, how it sounds like, and what it means, right? So they, right? 我得回家了，现在太晚了. So it's like I'm going to, I have to, I must, I need to, right? 我得回家了, right? Next, 修改, 幸运, 桂末, 钟, and 冲, right? So 钟 is when it has to do with weight, and I think 冲 is for compound words, that is not weight related, right? So they're not too 100% sure about this, but that's what I am thinking now. I feel that from learning Chinese, it has made me very comfortable with ambiguity, right? Which is one of the things I've been hearing lately from like the language YouTubers on what's necessary to pick up a language, right? And to make progress with your learning. And a lot of it is embracing ambiguity, right? I think I do that quite well for Chinese, right? So anyway, Yuan Yang Guo. So this Yuan Yang is, I believe, the same Yuan Yang for like the drink, which is half coffee and half tea, right? So if you order Yuan Yang, that's what you're gonna get, half coffee, half tea, right? Tastes quite nice actually, right? So Yuan Yang Guo would be a hot pot with two different flavors, right? 数据 data and 删除 delete, right? So I thought 删除 was seems pretty important, right? So yeah. For my second teacher, recently how our lessons are structured is that we will learn a bunch of vocabulary that would be related to a story at the end of the lesson, and I'll try my best to read the story using and recalling the vocabulary that I learned in the lesson or the previous lesson, right? So this is an example of one paragraph of the story. I'll just read it. You don't really have to know the story or the context, but this is more for me to show that I can read Chinese and I can sort of do it hopefully in a way that you can understand it as well, right? So 父亲说：“你妈昨天接到电话，知道你们今晚会来。今天来信访帮了一天，原来父母要我留个穿越式，只是为了让我们会来世，能离开感受到家的温暖。我鼻子一酸，流下个日泪。” Right. So my father said, your mom received the call yesterday and knew that you were coming back. So today we came to the new house and she was busy the whole day. So as it turns out, my parents asked me to leave. My parents wanted me to leave my house key with them because when I came back, they wanted me to be able to feel the warmth of a house, right? So, and then my nose, I guess, in English, imagine. It's like my nose crinkled up a bit, and I let out a tear, like a tear of joy, right? Oh, you're so touched, right? So anyway, yeah. So this was my second lesson, right? Moving on to Korean. I did 1 hour of an italki lesson. I did one of my Pimsleur lesson, right? I was planning to do my Korean grammar book, but I couldn't find the book all week until today. So I managed to finally find the book. So we'll talk about that in the later slides, right? Close Master, I didn't do it. I feel like I'm probably going to back out and retire from Close Master and maybe attempt it another time. Japanese was very successful last week, right? So at 1 hour of lessons, italki, I watched my subbed anime, I took a comfortable break from Pimsleur, and I completed Wagotabi first prefecture, right? I was a bit sleepy during the first prefecture, so I felt a bit delirious towards the end, right? I was like doing it while falling asleep, but I managed to defeat the first, I don't know what they call it, like Grandmaster in the first prefecture. So congratulations to me. And then I just quickly log out and took a nap, right? So that's my recollection of how I was playing Wagotabi. But I'll speak more about it later. So outside of CJK, I think I did things outside of Pimsleur and italki, like Wagotabi that I just mentioned, right? So this week's plan, right? I think I'll try and make it a bit more realistic. 2 hours of italki lessons, easy. HSK 5, the mock test part 2, which is not the tingly portion, not the listening portion. This is like the reading comprehension portion, right? So one chunk of words, one paragraph, maybe some blanks, and then some questions about the content, right? So I'll try to find an hour this week where I can just sit down and finish all of that, right? Korean, I will do an hour of italki lessons. I'll try to do lesson number 9 of level 2. And since I found my Korean grammar book, I will just go through unit 17, 18, 19, 20, right? I feel that, maybe for the next 10 to 15 units, they are not going to be too difficult. There are grammar points that I probably know or are fairly simple, right? So I'll try that out. Japanese, another hour of italki lessons, 5 episodes of anime. I will be starting Pimsleur level 2, lesson 1 for Japanese, right? And I will be beginning to do Wagotabi, the second prefecture, right? So I think I can finish the second prefecture this month, and then all I'll be waiting for is new content to be released by the Wagotabi team, right? So, yeah. So outside of CJK, I don't know if this header is correct anymore, but make progress on material outside of Pimsleur and italki classes, right? So for Chinese, I got my HSK mock test. For Korean, I have my Korean grammar book, and for Japanese, I have Wagotabi, right? So this is what I've been doing. I actually recorded this whole video earlier, but for some reason my microphone was turned off, so I didn't manage to capture the audio. So that's why I'm redoing this video again, and it's a lot shorter than the first take. So my first take was like over 20 minutes, right? So now we're coming in on 10 minutes, and I feel that I've said everything that I wanted to say. I was ranting on quite a bit in my first take, but I've lost the willpower to continue ranting on again. So this second take, this shorter version, it is what it is, right? So I remember what I was talking about. One of the things that I was ranting on was how many hours a week that I'm actually dedicating to language learning, right? So I have 4 hours of italki classes. I have an hour of Pimsleur lessons, right? So one lesson from Japanese, one lesson from Korean, both 30 minutes each, so about an hour. And I prep about at least half an hour for every Korean class, right? With homework that my teacher suggests, requests, recommends me to do, right? Before class, which is usually, okay, here's a topic, write some sentences about it, and then we'll go through your grammar. And ideally, by you having to come up with sentences for this topic, you will go and look up some vocabulary for you to use, right? So it takes about a 4, 5, I would say almost close to 6 hours every week for me to do my basics, right? Which is just my italki classes and Pimsleur, right? So about 6 hours a week, right? You may argue that, wow, 6 hours a week is a fair amount of time to dedicate for language learning, but which, to be honest, is a pretty decent amount if you think about it in a year. There's 52 weeks a year. 52? I think it's 52. Let's just round it down to 50 weeks a year. And if I can spend 6 hours, right, that's 300 hours a year. That's fair progress, right? But you have to remember, I am not only learning one language, I'm learning 3 languages. I'm learning Japanese, Korean, and Chinese all together at the same time at different levels, right? So is it enough? I don't know. Probably not. But yeah, I did want to just bring that up as an interesting afterthought. So yeah, that's the end of this week's weekly update. I will work towards trying to complete what I planned out today during the next 7 days until our next update. Yeah, I guess that's all for now. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.